Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over another premium hard question in the database/pandas section that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy about this, that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance relatively easily. Again, I thought this one was very straightforward and it took me like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So I don't know if this would be categorized as a hard, but either way, again, I was pretty glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem. So let me show you how I did it. Basically, this one just asks you to find, so the usernames, we want to group by those, and then we want to find the second most recent activity of each user. So there's a start and end date for each activity, and the second most recent will be sorted by the start date. So if you make some observations here, you'll notice that 24 to 28. And so if you have all of Alice's activities, the second most recent is this one, because that's the second biggest from 12, 21, 24, 20, 21 is the second biggest. And then Bob, there's only one of them. So there is no second most recent. That is the only one you include. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and get all the activities for Alice. And we want to use Alice as the dictionary key because they're unique. It's the primary key in the result. So let's go ahead and create a dictionary of type list. Let's go ahead and iterate over user activity, username, and we want to use the username as the key, and we want to append this, and this, right? But we want to sort by the start and the end date. So when we sort this list as the value of the key in the dictionary, we're just going to go by start and end date. So that's why start and end date should come first. Activity, start date of I, and then, so for the current row, and then also end date. I, and then last but not least, we want the activity, which is that you can't sort by a word, but we're going to include it anyway so we don't lose that information of I, and then we want to sort this, okay, call the dot sort method. And if you print this, you'll notice that you get what you need. So basically, we're going to go through this dictionary. So Alice and Bob, right? So for K and D, let's print K and DK. So we want the second most recent. So what that means is if length of DK, if there is a second value at all, has at least 2 elements, we're just going to print DK of -2. So from the list going backwards, that's that. Otherwise, print K, so there is only one element. Otherwise, we wouldn't have even inserted it into the dictionary at all. Cool, so now we have exactly what we need, and this makes our job really easy because now we just have to insert it, but now parsing the timestamp is a little more challenging. So, okay, so let's call this the start is going to be, so let's call this now is DK of -2, which is just going to be this. And then we want that to be now of 0, but you can't. Okay, so let's print S. So the start time, okay, now we have to split this because we don't care about this part. So we have to make this string dot split by a space, and then S of 0. That should give us what we need, which is just this part. Cool. And then we do the same thing with the end. So it's string now of 1, because the end is this guy, and then 2 is the actual activity. Dot split, and end equals to end of 1. Let's print end, or end of 0. We still want we don't want the 0, 0, 0 at the end. Okay, cool. So now we have our start and end. That makes the job a lot easier because we can just insert the activity where we need it in the current row. So We're going to have as many keys in the dictionary. That's how tall our table is going to be. Let's go ahead and create the skeleton. Return pd.dataframe. Let's just user activity columns equals to username, activity, start date, end date, just to get the skeleton. Obviously that's not right, and then we only want to return the length of the dictionary, right? Because that's how many primary keys we have, 2 in this case. Okay, so now we just have to populate it with the data we need. So let's go ahead and say count and increment that, because we're just going to fill it like an array upside down, so top to bottom. And we're going to say user activity of username is equal to, so that's going to be equal to k. That's the easy part. And we obviously, that's for the current cell, just counts. It's going to be like this next. Okay, cool. So it doesn't matter which order we return it in either, so that's good. And now we can just populate the rest of the columns. Activity counts is equal to, so let's actually take care of the start and the end date first. It's equal to start, count is equal to end, just to see what it looks like. Okay, so we have the activity right. And okay, so now same thing, let's just, so the S is going to be, in this case, dk of -1 is same things. Let's call this now is d of k of -1. And then S is string now 0 dot split by this, S equals S of 0 equals string now of 1, just copy this, dot split, and equals end of 0. So just parsing this part. And again, start date of count is equal to start. Come on, autocomplete. Okay, not like that. Okay, user activity, end date of count is equal to end. Cool. So now we should see better results, except now the okay. So let's print start and end. Start and end. Okay, cool. Looks like we have that correct. Okay, 0, 1, 18. I thought it said the order doesn't matter. So interesting. Okay. Oh, we didn't populate the activity, that's why. The activity of count is equal to now of -1. Is that what it is? I forget which one it is. Now, okay, let's print now -1. That should be the activity. Okay, and then the actual K is the username. Okay. Okay, and the same thing here. Okay, cool. So it doesn't matter the order. Okay, we just have to populate that column. Okay, let's submit it. And there you go, passes all test cases. Again, I was really happy that I was able to solve this question on my own without any assistance, even though the runtime is not great. And again, I felt like this is very straightforward for a Leetcode hard question. And yep, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.